Hello and welcome to today's Tiger webinar. I'm Lydia Palmer, Senior Director of Marketing and Communications in RIT's Division of Development and Alumni Relations, and I'm your moderator for today's webinar. We're happy to have you join us today, and we hope that you and our entire Tiger family are well and weathering this global challenge. We want you to know that the RIT Office of Alumni Relations is available to help all Tigers in the coming weeks with a variety of needs, including new virtual content, learning opportunities, and networking and career assistance in the coming months as our workplaces and our world work through the post-pandemic realities. We especially encourage everyone to connect to the RIT Alumni Association social media channels, including Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, where you will find up-to-date communications and opportunities to connect with other Tiger alumni in your region and your industry. Those links are found in the chat box, and the chat box can be opened by clicking on the chat tab at the right of your webinar window. The class of 2020 is finishing their time at RIT, but they are just beginning their journey into the lives of purpose for which their RIT education and experiences have prepared them. As a Tiger for Life, we need your help to welcome our graduates to the alumni body, encouraging them as both professionals and people in their next chapters. If you have words of wisdom, advice, or encouragement for this new band of Tigers, please share your thoughts with them at rit.edu/alumni/tiger-wisdom. We also want to ask you to join us on May 8th as we celebrate our class of 2020 virtually. We will be streaming a virtual celebration May 8th at 5 p.m. at www.rit.edu/class-of-2020. As you're aware, our soon-to-be fellow alumni won't be able to celebrate the way many of us did with a week of formal commencement ceremonies, so let's make this virtual event special until they can come back together for something more official. Many in our RIT family have asked how they can help our students and the university during this unprecedented situation, and we are incredibly grateful for those offers. Because a pandemic like COVID-19 touches us all, a global day of giving, #GivingTuesdayNow, has been set for Tuesday, May 5th in response to the unprecedented need caused by the virus. As generosity has the power to unite and heal communities, RIT will be participating in this fundraising event to bring our community together in support of our students. You can get a head start by making a gift at the link in the chat box, and we do thank you very much. We want to ensure that everyone is ready and familiar with the presentation tools. If you are joining from a remote location and are currently signed into your company's VPN, we encourage you to close that channel during the webinar to increase the quality of the transmission. The webinar platform is secure and does not require VPN access. All attendees have joined in mute mode. However, your questions for Liza can be entered in the chat box at any time throughout the discussion. We will make every effort to address all your comments and questions throughout the webinar. You are joining the event using broadcast audio. If you wish to dial in by phone, dial-in information is provided in the chat box. Live captioning is also being provided, and you can find the link to access that in the chat box as well. Today's webinar will be recorded and made available, complete with captions, in approximately 1 week following today's event. All participants will receive an email with the link to the recording. If you have any technical questions, please feel free to type those into the chat box and we will do our best to get you the appropriate answers. Now on to our webinar. We are happy to welcome RIT alumna Liza Savage-Katz, founder of Savage-Katz Productions, LLC. Liza's production company creates conscious and entertaining educational content. Liza grew up in Rochester, New York, and received her BFA in Illustration and Design from the College of Art and Design and her master's degree from the School of Individualized Study in Venture Creation, Film and Animation, and Curriculum Development. After finishing her BFA, Liza worked as an art director in Rochester, and she then moved to London in the UK to work as a senior art director. After working in advertising for many years, Liza took a year to travel around the world to study yoga and other modalities of healing and well-being. In 2003, she moved to Los Angeles, where she worked on several entrepreneurial endeavors in the field of health and fitness. Her students have literally ranged in age from 2 to 92. She has worked with professional athletes as well as children and adults with special needs and those recovering from addiction. Liza transforms bodies and lifestyles using her dynamic expertise, as well as her infectious, motivational personality. Her intention is to support everyone that enters her life to realize their best selves. In addition to being an entrepreneur, Liza is an adjunct professor in new media and a business coach at RIT, and most importantly, a mom to her 13-year-old son, Zuma. We're going to start our presentation by launching a poll that Liza would love to have you all respond to, and that will come up in the panel on the right of the screen. And as that is coming up, Liza, we are so glad to have you with us today, and our audience is all yours.
Thank you so much, Lydia. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so I'd appreciate if everyone could fill out the poll, just so that we have a little bit of some interaction. So just before we start, I'm just asking if you're concerned about the children in your life's screen usage. So if you could just submit that vote, I'd really appreciate that. And then I'm going to go ahead and get going and introduce you to KaleidoscopeMe. KaleidoscopeMe is an edutainment productions and software development company that creates movement, mindfulness, and social emotional learning platforms for children. And I'm the founder, co-creator, and CEO. So I'm going to go ahead and start the story at the beginning. At RIT, I had incredible experiences in my undergraduate life at RIT, and I studied fine art illustration and graphic design, as well as minority relations, and had a real interest in particular with minority education. And when I think of one photo that kind of defines my experience at RIT, it's by a friend photographer who's actually a photography professor at RIT, Rachel Jerome Ferrero. And you know, it was the early 90s. It was like that whole goth thing, and just being creative and being around cameras and film a lot. It was just a really big experience of a big part of my experience at RIT. And I still have dear, dear friends that are in the School of Art and Photography. So after graduating, I worked as an art director and moved to London, where I started working as a senior art director, and worked on some really high-profile accounts and had some really, really amazing experiences, including working with royalty, with Mo and Chandal and Harrods, and a lot of really cool experiences. And this is where I lived, next to Hammersmith Bridge. And one of my clients actually was Disney UK, which is the building in the back there behind my Digby Mansions. And I had an amazing experience working with Disney. I was senior art director, and I was responsible for bringing Monsters, Inc., Atlantis, Lilo and Stitch to market, and as well as relaunching films such as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and Beauty and the Beast, and doing the whole Disney Classics launch. Other accounts that I worked on was Tesco, and I used to do a lot of high-end brochures and promotions for Tesco is a big grocery store chain in the UK. And one of the projects I actually worked on was developing a ready-made meals for kids that, like, children as young as 5 years old could pop these microwave meals into the microwave and have a dinner made ready. And something didn't sit well with me about the idea that 5-year-olds are making their own meals. And actually, you know, we had a lot of fun creating the creativity and creating the whole packaging. It was back in the day, there was a really popular band named T Club 7, or S Club 7. So we came up with T Club 6 and had 6 fun and animated characters that were involved with launching all these fun and products. And unfortunately, the client that I was working with at Tesco actually left her job, so this went on hold. And you'll see that I kind of took these little characters and made them come alive for a different purpose. And then another project that I worked on for over a year was Coca-Cola Brazil. Actually, my agency in London actually won the Coca-Cola account in Brazil. And we actually designed the campaign for their 5th World Cup title for Brazil when they were going for their 5th World Cup title in the World Cup. And It was a really exciting project, and I worked on Coca-Cola for over a year. But one of the things that really struck me was I was working on doing a lot of marketing for taking families that purchase a 2-liter bottle of Coke, like brand X, and converting them to purchase like a 35 cents more, a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola. But some of these families didn't even have running water, but they all had TVs. And it just really tried my soul. And then when I went to Ecuador to work on a project and campaign for a flower company in Ecuador, and then later on a project in the Amazon rainforest, and I saw some of these families that I was actually targeting, it just really tried my soul to think that I was making people that don't even have running water to go purchase a product that they really don't need. And after working in advertising for some time, it started to really hit that I just didn't want people to buy things and services that they didn't need. And that's when I decided to take a year off and travel around the world. And while I was traveling around the world, I studied yoga and Thai massage and all these different varieties of health and healing and modalities. And here I am at Everest Base Camp. And also one thing I realized is I ended up taking tons of photos of children. And I just really knew that this was a community that I really wanted to serve. And after traveling around the world for about a year, I ended up in Los Angeles. And it was actually funny because a friend of mine who was one of the directors, marketing directors on Coca-Cola, she ended up moving to Los Angeles, Victoria Hall. And she was working with this whole spiritual community, and she was working on this documentary film series about women spiritual leaders. And she's like, I just see you here in Los Angeles. And so I moved to Los Angeles, and lo and behold, this little guy comes into my life, my son Zuma. He's a little bigger now. And I started working on content that supports the well-being of children. So it's taking all my expertise in film and marketing and advertising and design and using it for something that I really, really believed in. And so I started work. I was program director for Fresh Kids, the Chi Universe. I helped to develop the graphic design on their first prototype of their anthropometrically designed mat. Here's my son and I. Kid Tribe, we did these hula hooping assemblies, and I helped design the packaging for Hooper Size Me. And then also Move With Me Yoga Adventures, who my now partner, co-creator for KaleidoscopeMe, was the founder. And then I also worked for the Center for Movement Education and Research, and we came up with this Kids Get Moving DVD. This is back in the day when we had DVDs. And we marketed this with a lot of success. We actually linked this in, had it repackaged for an insurance company that used it as part of their wellness initiative for families, as well as sold 3,000 copies of this to social workers that were working directly with migrant families in Central California, where the fruits and vegetables are so plentiful, and yet this had the migrant population is one of the highest with children with obesity. And so this was really, really well received. It was hip hop and yoga, and this kind of just was a launching pad for what I started to do later on. And then one kind of a defining moment for me was as I was working with yoga ed in the Los Angeles Unified School District. I was teaching yoga and mindfulness through the Nutrition Network at LAUSD. I had one of my first experiences. I was told I was going to be teaching about 40 kids yoga and mindfulness, and I showed up late. I got stuck in traffic, and there were 80 kids, and I was like totally feeling butterflies inside my stomach, and I was upset, and I was like, guys, I was told I was teaching 40 students, and I'm feeling nervous and upset, and I'm sorry for showing up late, and I know that if I do yoga, I'm going to feel better. Do you want to help me? And they're like, sure. So I was told them a little bit about yoga. Some of them didn't even know what yoga was. They thought it was something you ate for breakfast. And, I was like, so who's ever felt so mad you just want to punch a hole in the wall? And they're like, me. And I'm like, me too. Who's ever felt so afraid you want to crawl up in a little ball? And they're like, me. And I said, me too. And I'm like, do you want to learn some tools that can help you navigate that and feel better? And they're like, yeah. So we went through our practice and we had a lot of fun. And then this little boy came up to me. He's like, can I give you a hug? And I was like, sure. And so he gave me this hug. And then all 80 kids came up and hugged me. And I was like, wow, I have something these kids really need and want. And that was kind of the beginning of this brainchild, KaleidoscopeMe. And so while I was living in Los Angeles, I started developing the show, which originally was just a television series with Leah. And these were my initial characters and like the initial logo. And then I moved to Rochester after a challenging divorce. And coming back to Rochester to be closer to my family, I literally fell into this whole new world. And actually this photo is from an art exhibit called Embrace Every Angle, where I collaborate with over 12 different professional photographers and artists. And we took photos of different parts of Rochester and worked with different fashion photographers and doing different yoga poses all across Rochester. And I was fortunate enough to have this exhibit at Carlson Co-work, Bausch and Lomb, the Link Gallery at City Hall, Editions Printing, and the Milne Gallery at Geneseo. And this painting in the back actually is called Filling the Void, and this was part of the exhibit. I actually started this painting 22 years ago while I was a senior at RIT. And I had this canvas. I had just started the drawing and I really liked it, but I didn't know how to fill it in. And I literally traveled around the world with this rolled up 4 feet by 6 feet canvas. And it took me moving back to Rochester and working with my friend Jen Facto and this wonderful community to actually complete this painting. And Amy Vina, actually here on the left, she's actually an adjunct professor at RIT in painting and illustration. And then Janine Sush and Tracy Greer are both alums from RIT, both in the School of Graphic Design and Photography. So there's definitely and Nitin Sampat was one of the professors who was at RIT, and he was part of this collaboration as well. So this was a really good success. We were featured on Channel 13, so that was kind of cool. Anyways, so after that experience and working at Carlson Co-work, I got connected in the Alumni Association. Leslie Wilson actually connected me, brought me back into RIT, and that's where I met Adam Smith, who is my department head in new media. And he's a great, great boss. And I told him about this project KaleidoscopeMe that had been kind of marinating for some time. And he's like, oh, why don't you do an interdisciplinary internship? And so the spring of 2017, I started my first internship group, and I had 4 students. And that actually blossomed into 10 students through the course of that semester. And then I also had actually one of my interns and students had told me about the School of Individualized Studies. And that's where I decided that I could actually use the school, my plan of study to actually create KaleidoscopeMe. So let me tell you a little bit about KaleidoscopeMe. So as a poll asked, are you concerned about your children's screen usage? Does this look familiar? A staggering 97% of kids are using screens before the age of 4, regardless of socioeconomic background.
And Liza, we'll let you know that most people did say that they were either somewhat or extremely concerned about that screen usage. So I think we're all tracking on about the same wavelength.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lydia. Good. So, okay, so I'm singing to the choir here. All right. With access to the world by the internet, it's amazing how we can learn and connect and grow like we're doing right now. But it also leads to isolation and some serious unhealthy content that kids are falling down these dark holes. And obesity. 1 in 5 kids in the US are considered obese or overweight. And our pink elephant, mental health. Anxiety and depression is rising at such an epidemic rate that according to Mental Health America, 50% of screeners aged 11 to 17 contemplate suicide or self-harm throughout the week. In 2015, I was a coach for a local boathouse, a crew coach, and one of my crew members committed suicide, and she was 12. Our educational and medical systems that were once designed to deliver information, test skills, and treat symptoms are having to rethink this paradigm to one of prevention that supports the whole child as a social, emotional being, not just as a learner. And we call this embodiment of emotional, mental, and physical health inner sustainability. And through the active life curriculum that KaleidoscopeMe is developing, we support inner sustainability. And we do this through 3 pillars of health: emotional, social, nutritional, physical, and environmental; tolerance, social empathy, self-image, mindfulness, and reflection; and movement, sports, yoga, martial arts, artistic expression, and music and in dance. And we deliver this through classes, professional development and teacher training, entertainment, our entertainment platforms, games and animation, and our activities and events, which are all rooted in a strong and supportive community where children feel safe to advocate and express themselves. And we deliver this on 2 platforms, one designed specifically for schools with a full curriculum, and then one that is more of an edutainment platform where kids can engage with content that is healthy for them. So it's like a Netflix for kids, but it's non-binge watchable content. So if a child watches an episode, then it unlocks an activity the kid engages with, and then they can move on to another video, so that we're hoping to create some balance between our virtual and actual world. And in addition to that, we're working on bridging the gap between home and school. And we are committed to serving all kids. So when there's support in the home, maybe this is a family that is struggling with a child that has anxiety, depression, and they're actively looking for content supports their social emotional well-being. This is where we're looking to parents who want to see their children do well and be well. But when there's not a lot of support in home, maybe there's a mom who works 3 jobs, a single mom who works 3 jobs, or maybe there's addiction or abuse in the household. This is where we look to school administrators and teachers that are actively looking for content that will support the well-being of their kids, as well as creating better performance in the classroom and higher classroom retention. Okay, so that's a little bit what we are doing and why we're here. And now the secret sauce that makes it all become a reality are these guys. So in the past 2.5 years, I've actually had the amazing fortune to work with some incredibly passionate, experienced, and committed people, that students, actually over 40 of them, that are really committed to making the lives of children healthier and better. So this is our past, this is this semester. These are some amazing, beautiful light in my life that are creating some awesome, awesome work. And then this is over the past 2 years, this is the additional team. So we've been really fortunate to have a ton of talent, that literally students that are volunteering their time and services in exchange for co-op credit, that have just been so special and brought this whole business into being. We also have an amazing team of coaches and advisors. Leah Kalis, as I mentioned, is the co-creator who helped me many years ago to come up with this idea. And then Lorraine Scarfile, the head of school at Trinity Montessori, Rebecca Amos, who's the co-founder of the Muse School in Los Angeles, and Rachel Lemaster, who is the manager of partnership and engagement at Exploration Elementary Charter, all of which are schools that we're actively piloting our program in. and have had a lot of success. And Dana is the lead innovation coach at the Simone Center. I love the Simone Center. And McKinney Beck is the professor who's supporting me in building the curriculum. And Ken Shapiro actually is the president and owner of CDK Productions, where I originally had done my first videos when I lived in Los Angeles. And he's responsible for, production of Hannah Montana and Everybody Loves Raymond. So in addition to that, in past semesters, I've had some additional wonderful coaches in entrepreneurship, entertainment, and education. And we've made some milestones in the past 2.5 years. So we have been developing our characters and creating some animations. So this was our original lineup based from the first one that I'd done many years ago. So this is the first original lineup, and those are the 7 characters that are inside my head, and the 7 characters, the animals, were actually my son's idea. And then we actually start reworking the characters actually for our active life curriculum, which is the in-school content. And then we have a team of 2D animators. So Brian and Jason have done a wonderful job of actually making our characters come to life in 2D animation. And then we also have we've done our 2D lineup, and then taking it into 3D has been a huge process. We worked with 7 animators over the course of the summer in making our characters come to life. And that's what they look like in action. And actually these past 5 images are posters that are actually going to be on display at the Alumni House on campus when we can eventually go back there. And we've been developing our social media. We're pretty much on every kind of stream of social media you can think of. This is our Instagram post. And we are kind of the foundation of our active life curriculum is our active life toolbox. As you can see here, this actually is a series of flashcards, and each character has a different tool for self-regulation and emotional intelligence. And the boxes actually can be personalized to a teacher or a child, and then they can access the little chant on the back that talks about that tool for self-regulation and emotional intelligence.
Liza, we do have a question. What age range is the product geared toward?
Sure. So our program is designed for children K through 5, and our sweet spot are 2nd and 3rd graders. So I work with kids as young as 4 and then as old as 12. So this is our actual, yeah, go ahead, Lydia.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, Emily actually wants to know how she can apply for an internship with your company. I think, Emily, there's some contact information at the end. You can contact Liza directly when we get to the end of this. So go ahead and give her a shout out. The other question is from that age range. Is it hard to re-engage children if they have already become very heavily involved in screen time?
Well, that's a really good question. And so, okay. So the thing is that we're not going to make screens go away, right? So the idea is, what kind of content are we going to give our kids to look at? So the idea is so you're using something kids are already on in order to help them find a balance between their virtual and actual world. I was talking at the Center for the Developing Child at Harvard, and we were talking about how, right now we're in this massive experiment with technology. And, it is hard for us to stay off our screens, myself included. Now with this pandemic and being at home, we spend a good part of our day on screens. And so it's learning how to manage to have both a quality virtual and actual life and not fall down dark holes of disconnect, right? So, when we're on Facebook and then all of a sudden we're off on some YouTube channel, even though we were supposed to be paying for a bill, it's like we want to stay on task. And so learning to create content that supports the well-being of the child so that they actually understand, what, I've been sitting here for 2 hours. I need to get up and go outside and get some fresh air, so that they start to become aware of these. So it's I hope that answers your question. And if not, we can always continue. I'm going to move on. Okay, good. Thanks. All right. So moving on. So we've been developing our active life curriculum, our online platform, and then also our video streaming platform. So this would be like, comparable to like a Disney Plus or a Netflix for kids. And then, as I mentioned, we've been working and piloting our program, and this is in the classroom, an enrichment program at Trinity Montessori, which we've been working with them now for close to almost 3 years now. And we've had a lot of success. In fact, we've increased our class size by 70%. And here's an example of our anthropometrically designed yoga mats that we've developed with Fresh Kids in incorporation with our Active Life tools flashcards that this week they're working on Violet, meditation activation, and they're finding her in the video, discovering which character she is. And as I mentioned, we've been working on piloting a program and working closely with Elementary Charters Elementary, which is right in the heart of downtown Rochester, and actually is exactly the sort of school we want to be able to serve, and just literally developing the content to support their well-being, as well as Muse Global, which is, the Muse School is one of the most innovative schools in the United States. James Cameron, the director, his wife Susie, and my advisor Rebecca are the co-founders, and the school is the first plant-based school in the United States, and it's all directed by passion-based learning. And so a lot of what we're doing, and it's a fully sustainable school. In fact, they had a zero waste build when they built the campus. And so a lot of the curriculum and ideology that I'm infusing into KaleidoscopeMe comes from this experience. And we're working on what's called our KaleidoscopeMe Kids Ambassador program, where we're working on creating healthy, cool kids that are actually kind and respectful and really value the lives of others and our planet. And so we've been in a few competitions in the past year. We were semifinalists last May at the Draper competition at Smith College. And we actually won the South by Southwest Student Startup Business Model Competition this past month. Unfortunately, we weren't able to go to South by Southwest, but we actually won. So that's cool. We won one of 8 winners. And what does the future look like? Well, there's a huge market for what we're doing. In fact, Factiva said, and Technavio said that the global academic e-learning market is poised to grow by $72 billion during 2020 and 2024. And so we know we're in the right place, that there's a demand for this, and we want to be able to increase our engagement and get our message out there through our social media. We want to expand to more schools and actively looking to start a full integrated pilot program in at least 4 schools in the Rochester area this September, and want to connect to more families. I have a big vision of creating a children's media workshop on the campus at RIT. It would be like equivalent to the children's television workshop back in the day with Sesame Street. But this would be a place where future industry professionals will be working on content that supports the social and emotional well-being of children, and just guiding industry professionals on what that would look like. We are presently in a pre-seed investment phase and actively looking for a business partner, a project manager, a financial strategist, and to develop and grow our film and animation team, as create content, have additional content developers. So we have this amazing team. Actually, some of my team I saw Mickey and Wynn are on the chat today. So I'm really, really grateful they're here. But we want to expand our team and continually growing. And right now, as part of that, and just in efforts to support everyone right now with COVID-19 and what's this isolation that we're going through right now, to offer online classes. And my son and I are offering classes Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to kids from 10 to 10:45. as like a pilot online program. So please feel free to share this with your friends and family. And it is available for adults too. I know Kelly and Sharon have been on my class. And then on Saturdays, I offer an adult class at 1:15, which is called a Yin Yoga, which is a class that's really designed for relaxation and just kind of to let just really embrace where we are and come into acceptance and allowing and just be at peace with what we're doing. So if you plan for 1 year, plant rice. If you plan for 10 years, plant trees. And if your plan is for 100 years, educate children. That's from Confucius. Thank you. We are KaleidoscopeMe, and we are Education Reimagined. And if you want to learn more, visit kaleidoscopeme.org.
Terrific. Yes, we just did paste your link up, contact information up in that chat box. So for those of you who are interested in contacting Liza regarding the whole project and being involved, you can go ahead and visit that link and she will get back to you. So we do have one question. So is the next step that you are going to expand in school access first, or are you doing everything all at once?
So that's a great question. So how we're setting it up is Mickey actually last summer did the accelerator program with me, and we've done over 700 qualitative interviews and customer discovery. And from that, we've learned, so we're working with business to consumer as our, selling directly to parents, and then our business to business would be us selling to schools and school districts. And from our research and what we've done so far, we realized that the lower lying fruit is with selling directly to parents, and that would be through our online platform, the streaming video on demand, the EDUtainment platform. And so in our ideal world, once we have our pre-seed investment and we're able to launch that platform, that's where our focus will be. But in the interim, while that is blossoming, we will be working on a pilot program and implementing this program, and ideally at least 4 schools, and doing an extensive research study. Right now, I've been talking to the Warner School at the University of Rochester. I'm also been in some communication with some other organizations that we could actually do a research study for over the course of 2 years, because the content we've created or in development now is 2 years worth of content. So while we were, hopefully getting our pilot program tested and researched, we would also be having our edutainment platform that would be already like in sales. So by year 2, hopefully we'd have enough evidence-based research to support that this is a valid product that we could actually sell it easily into schools in school districts.
Okay, and a question following up on that is, are you working with schools in New York only, or are you working with schools out of state as well?
So that's a great question. So right now we're working with 2 schools in Rochester, one in Pittsford, and then on Charter, which is downtown. But we are working with the Muse School in Los Angeles, California. So we are totally open. We're working with any school, but for doing the actual pilot program, as we're hoping to do, we would ideally like to have at least 4 schools local to do that. But then creating other relationships and working with other schools in other areas would totally be open to. And I'm happy to come and do professional development or do it online as we're doing everything right now. So yeah, I'm totally open to that.
And what level of investment are you looking for right now? Do you have a top line number that you need?
So I have been talking to some angel investors, and one in Silicon Valley in particular. And the initial pre-seed the seed investment that we're looking at is $2 million. But I think that we could actually get ourselves off the ground to have something to really market at $500,000.
Question regarding special ed settings. Have you had any success using this in special ed environments?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, so the mat that I worked with in the Los Angeles School District, the CHI mat, I've worked quite a lot with children on the spectrum. It actually and with autism, because the mat is like hands on hearts, knees on triangles, toes on raindrops. Take your knees off triangles, your down dog. It keeps the child in prefrontal cortex, so they actually do stay really engaged with the content. And, you know, obviously a lot of this curriculum that I'm doing right now, we're still developing, like the actual, you know, the actual active life curriculum. But we are totally, up until now, my personal experience working with kids with special needs and on the, you know, autistic. In fact, Jenny McCarthy actually was one of the women, her son, Evan, actually worked with our mat and is no longer on the spectrum. And so there has been a lot of success with that. So obviously I want to do some more evidence-based research on what we're doing in particular. But yes, I have had a lot of success working with kids with special needs.
So we've got still have a couple of minutes, and we wonder, Kelly asked if you can introduce some of the characters from KaleidoscopeMe.
Yeah, so let's go back. I can go back and talk a little bit about, okay. So, so Joy here, she's actually, if you come to our class on Friday, we're talking about Joy. So Joy is about the rainbow body, and she's actually based on our chakra system. Actually, Mickey and I were talking about her today. And she's all about integrating the mind-body connection. And when we say nice things to ourselves and stand in a healthy or sit in a healthy posture, it actually helps us feel good. And so she's all about rainbow body, sitting in your rainbow body and allowing all the colors of who you are to shine bright. And then Clara, her thing is she loves water. And so her story is H2O is the way to go. And her story is she was actually in a children's hospital for over 2 years with cancer. And one of the things that she learned from her experience, and one thing that she was able to do while she was in treatment, was to drink water all the time. And so now she's been in remission for 3 years and she's doing really well. But the one thing she continues to do and understands is how important water is to her body. And, you know, because we are beings that are made 70% of water, to continually flush the water through our systems, help us stay healthy and well. And then Theo, our little guy with glasses here, his story is he's all about breathe for 3. So Theo grew up in an environment where, well, he's in an environment where his parents argue a lot. And so he would get really tense and nervous and kind of fly up and, you know, go into fantasy and kind of check out from reality. And just wasn't able to manage being in the here and now. And then he learned about breathing for 3 and being able to check in with his body, come into this moment. And so he helps us remember how important it is to kind of, when we're feeling anxious or sad or afraid, to take a moment and to acknowledge the feeling and then breathe for 3 and reset and then recharge and move from there. Violet, her story is meditation activation. And she just loves to meditate. And she used to have a really hard time because she's all about creating big vision in the world and coming up with ideas all the time. And so her brother, who plays basketball, like was using meditation to get ready for games. And so he taught her how to meditate. And now she's able to take all her big vision and dreams and make them reality by being able to come back into the moment with her meditation practice. Grace is Hugs to Me. And so she's all about love and kindness and knowing that not all the time are we able to have someone else give us love. And so she's really learned to love and appreciate herself, and just knowing that sometimes just bringing your hand to your heart can help us self-soothe and self-regulate. And so she teaches us how important it is to really say kind and loving things to ourselves. And then Max here, he is all about playing, rise, exercise. He's a really confident kid, knows that he'll do well with whatever he decides to do. And he just loves to move his body and be active and loves sports and activities where he can move and be alive. And then Ace is, I stay strong all day long, and he does that through having a really healthy diet. He eats tons of fruits and vegetables. In fact, he grew up on a farm and loves to grow his own fruits and vegetables. And so he teaches us all about the benefits of eating a plant-based diet. And Tux is our penguin. Actually, this is the original lineup. So here he has both fins. But he's actually missing a fin. He got attacked by a shark. He's missing one fin. And his story is, I'm unique, not weak. And how he's an able-bodied being and how he has alternative abilities because of his disability, right? And then so let's go to our 3D characters here too, so you can see them come to life. All right, so unique, not weak is Tux. And then Louis here is our polar bear, and he is he's all about sustainability and how it's cool and clean to go green. And he teaches us about the benefits of reusing, recycling, composting, and how we can help the world a lot by being mindful of our planet. And then who else? Oh my goodness, what's his name? Sparks, our little husky. He loves yoga, and his story is downward dog, and he teaches us about the benefits of yoga. And then we have Ollie, and Ollie is all about namaste every day and honoring the light within each one of us, and our little otter. And then Spud is hip hop, don't stop, and about using dance as a way of expression, that when you're feeling sad or upset and people are triggering you or bullying you, like, you don't have to take it out on people. You can actually use all that energy and use it in a way that is fun and artistic. And so talking about how you can express yourself through dance. And then we have Ella, and she sleeps all the time, and she knows how important healthy rest is. And so her thing is sleep 8 hours for superpowers. And then we have Zoe, and Zoe is about respecting and reflecting and taking time to see the value in others, and instead of reacting to people, to respond to a situation by knowing that we all have value and are important in our world, I think. All right, so that's the characters. And it's been a lot of fun actually developing them, from the initial lineup. MJ did the original lineup here, and it was fun to see my son come up with the characters and how they evolved. Any other questions? Let's see. I think that's, yeah. So, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm muted in 2 places. I do apologize. Will you be addressing mental illness disorders like depression, anxiety, OCD, etc.? So specifically, are you going to be going into mental illness issues?
Yeah, Des, that's a really good question. I haven't, I've already talked about, in each of the stories about making the characters real. For example, Clara, when she, struggles with cancer, or Theo is struggling with anxiety, with his parents arguing a lot, and Tuck's struggling with, sometimes kids make fun of us when we are disabled, quote unquote disabled. So we call it about alternatively able. And So also, if you go onto our social media stream, like particularly into our Instagram feed, you'll see that each week we have a different, well, not each week, but each month or so, we have a new character and a new ambassador. And so each of the ambassadors tells a little bit about their story and how they've been coping with things. So the idea of our show and our program is really making it feel where kids feel safe to talk about what's going on with them, and then giving them tools and a space where they feel safe to express themselves and know how to, right? Sometimes we're not even aware of what we can do in order to make ourselves feel better. And so this is like a toolbox on how we can make ourselves feel better. Hope that answered your question.
I think so. Yes, it does. And thanks to Anna for she's posted your Instagram account in there as well.
Yeah.
So just terrific responses from everyone. They've all said how much they love the presentation, how much they love the program. It's just all wonderful. And we really, really do thank you for joining us. And I'm sure seeing the number of people who have said, how do we get in touch with you? What do you need? I think you should anticipate a number of contacts coming through in the next day or so. So we hope that works out for you as well. We want to thank you, Liza, for joining us and for sharing your thoughts and your wonderful work and this terrific program. And we also want to thank our audience for joining us as well. You are welcome to please visit rit.edu/alumni/tigers-staying-home for a listing of upcoming virtual events. We do have several webinars and virtual events in the coming weeks, and we'd like to include you all in as many as possible. Liza, did you have anything else you wanted to share with the audience before we end today's webinar?
Well, first, I just want to thank everyone for showing up today. I know there's a lot of other things we could do than being here, and I really appreciate your willingness to hear what we're doing, and I'd love for you to become involved. And if you need to, if you want to learn more, please go to KaleidoscopeMe.org or reach out to me directly at Liza@KaleidoscopeMe.org, or I'm on LinkedIn, and we're on every sort of form of social media. So I'd love to connect with you and learn more. And here, I'm going to give my email address right here. So I'm always open to, have meetings and learn more about what you're doing. And I think a big part of actually, I just saw it. Was it someone who was? Oh yeah, Jill was here, and about how we're wanting to create a community of kids that actually have an economy and an understanding that supports not only themselves but the well-being of their community and the planet. And this is where this whole project comes in with this idea of inner sustainability. And so it's like kids learning how to feel empowered enough and understand what their feelings are saying to them, and in a way, and having the tools to be able to take care of themselves in a way that's healthy and constructive. Because kids are tending to check out with their screens. So let's use our screens as a tool to have kids understand what's going on internally so that they can create a balance externally.
Terrific. Thanks so much, Liza. So thank you all again for joining us today, and please do feel free to contact Liza at her email address or in her at her various social media channels. And we want to let everyone know that you can exit this webinar simply by closing the actual browser window. And when you do that, you will receive a you will receive a survey on this webinar in email. So we do hope you will fill that out. Thank you all again for joining us, and please have a wonderful week and stay healthy.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.